Imagine that you're out for a walk. You have your dog with you, and the sky is blue, and the trees are green, and there's a lovely path, and all around you are wonderful treasures, just waiting to be found. Untold beauty displayed all around you. You kneel down and find a rock or a feather, a stone or a metal fragment. Each has its own story, and each is a tingly treasure. Hello, moonbeams. This is Luna, and today I have a treasure chest of tingles for you. I found each and every one of these treasures on my daily walks with my dog Remi. We like to go walking out on the trails and the dirt roads and all over, and invariably every time I find something. Well, maybe not every walk, but almost every walk I find a stone or a feather or something interesting. And today I'm going to share with you all of my treasures, and I hope that they give you as many tingles as they've given me. And I keep them in this wooden box, which itself makes wonderful noise, wonderful sound. My grandmother had an antique store, and she would refurbish old things and make them not like new again, but restore them to their former glory. And she did that with this box, which I think is so beautiful. And I think she put a layer of polyurethane on it because the box has kind of a sticky sound because it's a bit glossy. Okay, are you ready for your first tingle? The first is actually mini. These are all of the feathers that I have found, and I keep them in an old Kraft cheese box. Believe it or not, cheese used to come in a box like this. I don't know if you can call Kraft cheese though. This is also from my grandma's antique store. Okay. A lot of feathers here. Do this one first. I like this one because it has the little downy part, and it's so soft and wispy. There's something truly magical about feathers, like that they enable the creature to fly, and the things they've borne witness to, and the places they might have been. I love the way that kind of sound of like a zipper. There's something also like, because they can almost feel like you're being tickled when you're touched by a feather. And I think it's because of the irregularity of the shape. Our mind can't predict, just like when you're being tickled, it can't predict whether you'll be tickled. I'm taking you on this side too. I'm actually so ticklish that even if someone just threatens to tickle me, I start to feel like I'm being tickled, like it's happening right now. I feel like I'm being tickled. I think this one might be a hawk feather. And I really like it because of these little pieces here. Have like a negative space. And then like the brown and the white stripes. And that this part is thinner, or there's less volume than this part. I think it's very like quintessential kind of feather. And I think I'm gonna try to paint this because it's so beautiful. I'll get you right there. So this is a pheasant feather. There are so many pheasants where I live, and they do this thing where they will hide in the grass and they will wait until you're almost on top of them, and then they will fly away really quickly when you're almost on top of them. And it scares me every single time. They always almost give me a heart attack. I feel like pheasants are the low-key kind of peacocks. They're not quite as flamboyant, but they're still pretty flamboyant. And this one's nice because it's so long. I can tickle you. Right there too. Okay. Next one. I think this might be a crow or a raven feather. I'm not sure. One time I was watching a David Attenborough documentary, and they were talking about how, I don't know if it was crows or ravens, but how they play, like, and they showed a video of them, and they were playing just like so human. I didn't realize that. It's really quite remarkable. Sometimes on my walks, I find a whole wing, which is really sad because I know that the bird met with catastrophe. But I do really love the sound of layered feathers. It's quite different than just one feather. love polka dot things. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feathers. So it almost feels like a ghost touching you. It's very ticklish. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's actually little tiny polka dot feathers here. And I keep telling myself that I'm going to make a pair of earrings, but I haven't done it yet. I thought this one was really pretty because it's like red. These ones are from the wing, or one of the wings. They fell off. It's so calming. Does that feel relaxing to you? Yeah. Me too. Here are 2 feathers that I found that I thought maybe I would make earrings out of. But they seemed kind of big. And then I realized that they're actually the perfect mustache. Just kidding. Although kind of not. I would make a big long mustache like this. Another wing. A stripy feather. Two little feathers. I like the feeling of being touched simultaneously by 2 feathers. It's like your brain can't handle it or something. 1 feather is like a lot, and then 2, it's like, what is that? relaxing me. Because you deserve it. One last black feather. I don't find feathers that often. I would say maybe once a month, and more often in the spring and summer and fall. I don't find many things in the winter, honestly, because everything's covered in snow usually. Okay. Are you ready for a tingle from the Tingle treasure box? This is some kind of metal spike. I live in an area that has a lot of industrial traffic and all kinds of things. Agriculture and oil fields and stuff. And so I often find metal items, more so than I think other people might. And I don't know, I find something beautiful about the way that they're rusting. I like the sound too, it's like a bell. Another tingle. So this stone kind of looks like a zebra. It has these like little stripies. And I don't know why, but I kept this stone in my pocket, like my coat pocket, for over a year. And I think it's because it fits like so perfectly into this part of your hand. I know that's kind of funny. And I just like that it's got these striations. I think it's really beautiful. Okay, another tingle. Okay, you guys, this is a shark tooth. I'm just kidding. I don't know what it is, but it does have these like serrated edges. Maybe it's the shark tooth from like a mechanical machine. Listen to this sound. I don't know what it is, but I think it's pretty cool. So I actually have two pieces. This one is, I don't know, it's metal and it has threads inside of it. It's very rusty. You can see right through it. And this one is like a perfectly shaped egg. I can't believe how perfectly egg-shaped it is. And it's like, it's heavier than what you would think for its size. And I like to put it like that. Like it's one of those special things you eat soft-boiled eggs with. I just thought it was really cool. And I feel like this is a pedestal, like they were meant to be together. This one is a little tiny polka dot rock. It has little white polka dots, and they're so perfectly shaped. This is a giant bolt. And it's almost like little stones have been compacted and like cemented inside. It's just such a big bolt. I wonder what it came off of. This is a little plastic horse that I found. And I always wonder what little kid is missing their little toy. Not sure that's what a horse sounds like. I'm not sure what this is from, but it kind of looks like a chess piece. or a very strange ring. This one didn't fit in the box, but it's one of my favorites, and it's actually mini. I love the way that nature smooths out stones. Like I don't know, there's something about the smoothness that is very soothing. And I like how tiny all these little ones were. They might be kind of loud, so I'm just going to brush them here. Some people collect crystals, and I collect stones. I like perfect little jelly bean stones. They're all different colors, and I wonder where they were originally from, and the journey that they each had. Were they once a mighty boulder? Were they at the top of a peak? How far did they travel in a stream? Each one has a story, just like all of us. This one also didn't fit in the box, and I found it just a few days ago, and I put it in this little jewelry box so that you could see it better. Try to hold it like that. It's a dragonfly, and when I found it, I couldn't tell if it was dead or alive, but as I got closer, I could tell that it was dead. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mount it and put it in like a shadow box and frame it, because I think it's just so beautiful. I also think I'll try to paint it with my watercolors, because the wings have these like stripes and then these really intricate veining, and I just think it's so beautiful. And I looked up online what a dragonfly symbolizes, and it symbolizes transition and change. It also can symbolize spiritual maturity. And even though I know that might seem kind of hokey pokey to put any stock in that, I think the intention of our minds is profoundly powerful. So we can take that in and incorporate it into our intention, and then it does have an effect. So this little guy, I don't think he makes really any sounds, but he's very beautiful, very different. This is a really interesting piece, and I found it in an area with like a lot of dilapidated houses, and I think it's from like a fireplace where you would hang the pokers and stuff. although I really don't know. And I've had this for a really long time, like probably 5 years or more. And I've put it outside my house at every place I've lived. It's had quite the journey with me, and I just think it's really beautiful. Even though it's like old and rusty. Kind of reminds me of like a southwestern sun, like a depiction of a sun. Okay, more tingle. I know. I'm thinking this one might be a little hard to see, but it has these big holes in it that look like craters, like it's a little tiny moon. Okay, so this one is a bit dark. It's a rabbit skull, which some people might say that's kind of morbid to have a rabbit skull. And honestly never thought too much about death. And then I took this class in college called The Psychology of Death. And all these different speakers came in. So like a hospice worker came in and she talked about her job and being with people at the end of their lives. A veterinarian came in and talked about euthanasia, which I believe means good death or kind death in Latin. I'm not sure on that actually. And a priest about last rites, and we talked about death in so much depth and detail, and I feel like it's kind of a taboo subject in my culture, which is, I grew up in the United States, so it might be different elsewhere. And through that class, I kind of learned that, or I gained a greater appreciation for the fact that our lives are finite and that they are actually quite brief, even if we live to be old. And so when I look at this little skull, I'm reminded of the brevity of life and that it's a cycle that will eventually come full circle for all of us. And I find it beautiful. I find it a reminder to appreciate life, I guess. So it is a little bit dark, but in a good way, because it makes me conscious of how I spend my time. So in that way, I find it really beautiful. Okay, that was kind of a deep one. This is a perfectly white stone. I think it might be gypsum. And I notice something when I find white stones like this, that they're all very square, just like this one. And I think that has to do with the way that they're made, like the chemical makeup of them. that they fracture on a plane like that, which I think is really interesting. I'm going to tap that right by your ear. And over on this side. This is like Mary Poppins' box. There are never-ending tingles. Here's another washer that's square. Could be a ring. This leaf hasn't really maintained its integrity, but when I found it, it was like twisted in a spiral. I love the way that leaves sound when they're all dry and stacked on top of each other, and it's a cool enough day and you're out walking and you can hear the crunch, 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 crunch of the leaves. I'm thinking that I will try to make a video incorporating that sound. I haven't figured out how yet because it's really loud, so I'm gonna brainstorm that because I think it's such a cool sound. Another metal looking glass. This one I think might be kind of hard to see, but there's little like lines, and when I found it, I thought it looked like a sandwich, so I had to have it. It's my little rock sandwich. Don't try to eat it. This rock is round and it has these like little stripy lines, which I just thought was so cool. I can use my little round metal piece as a pedestal. This is somebody's earring that they lost. It's a little book. And it even has little pages. I found it next to the school. I probably should have is perfectly circular, and it has this kind of edge on it, and it's flat in the back. And I thought it looked like a kneecap, although maybe it's more like the moon. Since my name is Luna, and the moon is my namesake, I like things that relate to the moon. Another tingle. I don't know what this is. One side is really shiny, and one side is really dull. It looks like it's a mirror for a very tiny person. This is a piece of glass that I found, and it has these little bumps on it. It's kind of hard to see, but they have like a really cool feel. I thought it was a really unique piece of glass. Here's a little dog. He's pretty dirty. A little plastic dog. I wonder if he belongs to the same kid who lost their horse. He was abandoned on the side of the road. I had to pick him up. It's a little piece of granite. I guess nothing too special about it. I just liked it. Now this stone looks round. Looks normal until you open it up. And it's hollow on the inside. And the base is flat. So I think it must be like a carbonate stone. Oh, excuse me. And so the water or something would get in, and it would have kind of like a reaction. Oops. Another bolt. one doesn't look that special, but if you look closely, it looks like there's like a little tree growing here. And I think this is moss agate, and I've seen moss agate when it's polished, and it looks like little things are growing in it. I don't have a stone polisher, so I haven't polished this, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It has a little tree. This is a perfectly round stone. Now, you don't find round stones very often. Not perfectly round, oval, smooth, curved, whatever. But perfectly round, they're pretty rare. And so when I find them, I pick them up because they seem like dragon eggs or something. I don't know. You tell me. Do you find round stones very often? That was my stomach. Another white stone. I'm not sure what this is. It's like a tiny ladder for a tiny person. So maybe it belongs to the little mirror. Just thought it was cool. This stone doesn't look that amazing, but if you look closely, it has like the impression of a seashell. So it's actually an old fossil. And speaking of fossils, this one also has little seashells that you might be able to see. Another tingle. Speaking of round stones, here's another perfectly round stone. Or maybe it's a dragon's egg. You tell me. You guys, it's really hot here. It's like record-breaking temperatures. I can't believe it. I'm not sure what this is. It's a perfectly square piece of metal. perhaps the world's ugliest coaster. It has a nice, like, ding, like, very clean bell sound. Another metal washer. This is a normal stone, but it has this really orange lichen on it, which I thought was really beautiful. It's so orange. I found this on the side of the road. The front is really glossy and pink, and the back is a bit rougher. It has some writing on it. It says 2005 48 K55 USA November 9th. And I live in a part of the country where there's a lot of oil wells. So I think that this is what they put on the outside of the pipe that they put in the ground. And this says like the manufacturer specifications and where it was made. And I love the tapping on the glossy part. This is a little fairy pine cone, and I like the sound it makes. Little fairy pine cone. This is a little seashell that I found when I visited my dad in Florida. It's not a seashell, it's a snail shell. I don't normally find snail shells, but I did find this in Florida when we went out for a walk together. So, this is a little teeny tiny stone. Might be kind of hard to see. And it's like a blue turquoise color because it has copper in it. I found it in an area that has a lot of natural deposits of copper. And it matches my nails like perfectly. It's a piece of glass, and it is purple. And the reason it's purple is because it's old. Like, I think it's more than 100 years old if you find purple glass. It's like the most beautiful shade of lavender purple. I would buy glasses in this color. These are beautiful. This is another little skull. I think it's of a vole or a mole or maybe a rat or something. I'm not sure. It's very tiny. And just like the rabbit skull, when I look at it, I'm reminded just how brief our time here is. So that's why I keep it. It's a purple stone. I'm not sure what kind it is, but it's really purple. Okay, more tingles. This is a round stone that looks like the moon. It has little craters in it. This is someone's drill bit that they lost. This might look like a perfectly round stone, but it's actually a little metal ball because it has threads right here in the middle. And it's kind of scratched, and where it's scratched, it looks gold. So maybe it's a gold nugget. And because it has this little spot here, you can set it and it won't roll away. This is the world's most perfect skipping stone. So it's thin, but it has a large surface area. So if you were to skip it across the water, it would bounce. And I love to skip stones on the water, but this stone was too perfect. And if I skipped it, it would be lost. So I had to save it. The world's most perfect skipping stone. really amazes me how much metal things I find. This is someone's old fishing lure. It used to be red, but it's not red anymore. This one looks like a perfect little tiny egg. It's very smooth. You can use this little thing as a pedestal. And I remember this stone very well because the day that I found it, my dog actually got sprayed by a skunk. It wasn't that bad. I think they both surprised each other, honestly, and I think the skunk just gave him kind of like a warning spray. But it surprised me very much, and the skunk and the dog were fine. But it was a memorable walk, to say the least. Perfect little pedestal for my little egg. This stone is unbelievably smooth, and it's kind of shaped like a teardrop, and I like to actually do that because it's just so incredibly smooth. Can get you right there too. It feels nice, doesn't it? Another bolt and another screw. This is one of those clear metal marbles that got squished on one side. This one I liked because it has these little striations. Like all these little layers in the rock. It's really nice. And this one is a triangle in a triangle. Probably kind of hard to see. I have a little jelly bean rock. today.